now. What is really going on with the topic? The headline says Labour Party crisis. Lamidi Apapa demands Obi Abure step down after Supreme Court boost. Okay, let me read the first, maybe it's up to two paragraphs here. The internal crisis rocking the Labour Party has intensified as factional leader Lamidi Apapa has demanded that Julius Abure, 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi, and Abia State Governor Alex Oti relinquish control of the party. Apapa, who re-emerged last week after a 2-year absence, declared himself the legitimate acting national chairman of the party, citing a recent Supreme Court ruling that fulfilled a previous Court of Appeal decision in favor of Abure. Barrister, what the hell is going on? We thought after the Supreme Court judgment, the Labour Party will get get hold of itself and reorganize and rejuvenate. What we are seeing right now is even after the Supreme Court pronouncement or the judgment, we had the Abure faction threatening the Obi faction. Now again, Apapa is now even threatening. He's asking both the other two factions. So we have 3 factions where the Apapa is asking other 2 factions to relinquish. I don't get it. What exactly is going on? Where are we with Labour Party? It means that it is not yet Uhuru, right? With Labour Party, even with the Supreme Court judgment.
Definitely, and that is why I criticize the judgment. The last time we spoke on this issue, I criticized the judgment of the Supreme Court, that it has not brought the so-called that the party members and the generality of Nigerians were looking for. Now, the judgment created an ambiguity. You throw the issue back to the party. Who is the party? That is the issue. Why is it impossible for the Supreme Court to enforce the constitution of a party? To say, oh, this is the leader elected in accordance with your constitution, and so he is the authentic leader. Why should they push it back to the party? Now you have a party in crisis. You have a party that has factions. And the factions approach the court, and the court says, no, go back and sort out yourself. How do you want them to sort out themselves? Is it now the rule of the powerful? And when you talk of the powerful, remember Obi is powerful, Nenadi Usman is powerful, the governor they have is powerful, but they do not control the security agencies that would tip the balance from one faction to another. If Obi now and the caretaker goes to take over the secretariat, Abure resists, and Lamidi comes in.
Yeah, to buttress what you have just said now. Even right now, so I was speaking now. Abure's name is on INEC the data.
Exactly.
Abure is still the chairman.
This is what I'm saying. The judgment, I criticize the judgment of the Supreme Court because it gives room for the government, which controls the levels of security, to manipulate and interfere in the internal affairs of a political party.
Do you think it's deliberate? The Supreme Court judgment was deliberate?
I lost faith in the Supreme Court long ago. So it is probably deliberate. But like I said, this type of ruling has been going on for a long time, since 1984, when they started saying that the internal processes of the party are outside the control of the courts. The court should not determine for a party who will run the party. This is not now. It started way back. Although there has been attempts, the Electoral Act has tried to introduce amendments that will cushion the effect of that simplistic thing, whereby the chairman of the party will make an announcement and it becomes the view of the party, irrespective of whether he consulted the national executive or not. Now, in this scenario, Abure was in office because of the judgment of the Court of Appeal, which restored him to national chairmanship. He was outside the national chairmanship. He had been driven from the office. But following the judgment of the Court of Appeal, the Nenadi Usman Caretaker Committee succumbed to the judgment of the Court of Appeal, and Abure came back to the National Secretariat of the party while waiting for the judgment of the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has now said, no, this thing, we are not going to decide this thing. It's an internal party matter. Go and settle yourself. In an enlightened society, Abure, because of the judgment of the Court of Appeal that has been set aside, would have quietly gone out of that place. But we are not in that society. We are in Nigeria, where it is fight to the death and fight to the finish. And this gives room to the governing party to intrigue and cause more and more confusion in the party. Somebody today is financing Arab Bambi, I always find it difficult to call that man's name.
Yes,
Arab Bambi.
Yes.
And his group to come in and lay claim to the party leadership. Abure is insisting on it. And Nenadi Usman, they had the meeting, they have had the meeting. Now, if you look at, if it is a question of party stakeholders, all the stakeholders of that party are with the caretaker committee. So you would have thought that, okay, people will say, okay, our governors, all our senators, all our House of Reps members, our presidential candidate, or they are in this thing. So that is, but everybody is holding on to it. How do you resolve that if you don't have security agents?
My next question is
on your back?
Yeah, my next question: do you think Obi and Baba that okay, the Nenadi Obi, the Nenadi Usman and Oti, do you think they acted too fast by actually a kind of they converged? Remember the last week meeting, they eventually come back and a kind of had a sigh of relief that okay, they acted as if everything was fine. Do you think that everything in Labour Party has been resolved or whatever? Do you think they acted too fast? Because prior to that judgment, we noticed that Obi was a kind of graduate, was neither here nor there. He was not his position his position in Labour Party was not established prior to this judgment. We was already hobnobbing with opposition party, other opposition parties, was already hobnobbing with some strange bedfellows or whatever. But immediately after this Supreme Court judgment, he swung back, and right now we are not even hearing. He's no longer consulting with the strange bedfellows, the same strange bedfellows. There's no longer talk about Obi a kind of merging with other parties or whatever. He has come back all in for Labour Party. Do you think he acted too fast based on this? Because it's obvious that the plan of the ruling party is to actually make sure that there is no stability in Labour Party or any other opposition party. PDP is already almost dead. It's in comatose right now, and as far as I'm concerned, so Labour Party that has a little, at least some iota of oxygen, they want to sniff that oxygen out of it. Do you think they acted too fast? One would expect that they will just hold on and watch the scenario. Probably they should have lawyers just like you around them who will advise who should have, because I believe probably the lawyers they have around them didn't. Lawyers who should have advised them on the right move to take, and caution them on the Supreme Court judgment, that Supreme Court judgment has, I don't know whether you call it a lacuna or whatever, is ambiguous. There's no clear winner or loser in that judgment. Do you think they acted too fast, Barrister?
They did not act too fast. In the context of Nigerian politics, you don't wait. As soon as the Supreme Court delivered their judgment, You heard what Abure said. He insisted that he remained. You heard what Rabambi also said, that now because of that, so they had to move fast to assure the base, to assure the general members of the party that yes, they are in control. If you keep quiet, if they had kept quiet, all these other people would become dominant. All these other factions, it will be between Abure and the other party. They had to move fast and put their stamp on the party in order to come up on top. Because this stage now is no longer the stage of lawyers. What will the lawyer now tell you? This is the stage of physically taking over the party, physically taking over the structures of the party.
Yeah, but
then going forward to conduct a national convention and congresses.
Yeah, but we all know we can still remember and have the record of what division in a party, what factionalization in a party can do to a party when it comes to election. There is no party that had a kind of a level, at least, no matter how small the fracture is. There's no party that has fracture. We don't have that record of a party that had a structure, had a fracture within its confines, and went ahead to win election. No. So why I mention lawyers is I expected lawyers, I expected the lawyers around them the smart one to say, to at least tell Obi, because Obi is the focus here. Let's be frank. Tell Obi, Peter Obi, look, Your Excellency, be cautious. Don't just go all in for Labour right now. You still continue. You better continue to strategize on your other options. Don't go all in yet, because this Supreme Court judgment, this is it. It has created there's ambiguity in it. So, and that is just it. So, because my point is, whether Obi goes all in and commandeer the party structure or whatever, it does not stop it doesn't take away that fracture. We have 3 factions right now: the Abure faction, the Apapa faction, the Obi faction. I don't even know where Arabambi stands right now. Maybe Arabambi will create his own faction to make it fall. So what we have is a fractured political party, Barrister. How do you expect someone to win an election on such platform? It is not possible. That is where I'm coming from.
Let's be very clear. It is doubtful if Obi is going to contest on the platform of the Labour Party.
That is my point. That's why I say it's not too fast for it. Wasn't too fast.
No. It's still not too fast. Even if he's not going to contest on the platform of the Labour Party, he needs the structures of that party. The idea now, which is in the public domain, this year has been thrown up, is that Atiku will run with Obi as his VP and do 1 year. And by 2031, he will hand over to Obi.
Not 1 year.
One time, sorry. So that by 2031, he will step down and Obi will take over. That is the essence of the consultation that has been going on between Obi and the other factors.
So Atiku still wants to be the president. Can you imagine this man?
Whether that will be within, I doubt if it is going to be within the PDP. It's probably going to be within the SDP. But you need the structures of both the PDP and the Labour Party to coalesce into whichever platform they are going to contest. I doubt if Obi will contest on the platform of Labour Party. Labour Party has been so disabled that it will not be a credible platform in 2027. PDP has suffered the same fate. And that is why they are looking for a new platform. While looking for this new platform, they want to capture the structure of the PDP. They have to capture the structure of the Labour Party so that they can amortize and crystallize them into that new structure to make it like a coalition of parties. That is what I think is ongoing.
Obviously,
so we'll be moving to do what they are doing, the caretaker in the Labour Party is within that reasoning.
Ambit. Okay.
It's not
All right.
solely because you want to capture the structure and come and use it to contest.
All right. You and I
They
are on the.
want they want a coalition of parties that will challenge Tinubu in 2027.
All right. I think.
And you cannot have a coalition of parties if you have the Abule and the Rabambi controlling Labour Party. No, they are being sponsored by
Yes, of course, the
the
opposition,
government. So those people
the
will tell
government. I
them,
mean.
don't join any coalition. So they need to grab the structures of that party, as well as the structure. Atiku is trying to do the same thing in PDP. Get hold of the PDP machinery, or get hold of the Labour Party machinery. Even if we don't go into SDP, use the SDP platform, whichever platform we use, we will take the SDP, we take the PDP, we take the Labour Party as a coalition and challenge the APC.
All right. I think I agree with you. I agree with you. Labour Party does contesting under Labour Party will be a waste of time, resources, and energy. That's just the reality. So we are on the same page on this. But on the article, anyway, the truth is, as it is right now, I have always predicted that Atiku will never be the president because I would never support him. But honestly, if Atiku becomes the option we have against Tinubu, I'd rather, because honestly, in all sincerity, as corrupt as Atiku is, at least he has a much, much clearer, much better foundation than Tinubu. That is one. Secondly, and I believe strongly that Atiku could have governed better than Tinubu. Honestly, Atiku is, there's no doubt about when it comes to corruption. That guy he stinks of corruption. But honestly, we're talking about in a community, in a country of blind men. One-eye man is a king, will be considered to be a king there. So that is just it there. So he is just a better devil than Tinubu. So if it comes to that, honestly, I don't mind, because initially I used to say Obi again winning the election as a president. Kai, it will be very, very, it will be like a camel passing through the eye of a needle. In fact, my own judgment, it is impossible. It is practically impossible. So Atiku coming back, honestly, I'm surprised he's coming back, but at the same time, if come 2027 and what we are seeing right now are the only people that will be on that will be in the environment, the political environment. Yes, okay. Abi or Atiku Obi. Honestly, I don't know, because I actually wanted that Baba Ahmed. I just wanted that guy. I just love that. I know the northern elites they are against him. They will never allow that Baba Ahmed to be or whatever.
That Baba Ahmed's time is not now. In the
I
kind
love
of
that man,
contest that
honestly.
is coming, in the type of contest that is coming in 2027, he is a total paperweight. Anybody that puts him there is guaranteed
Yes.
to lose.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And let me talk about, there was a time that I used to say, so person can never rule Nigeria. After Buhari was elected, I've stopped saying that.
Yes.
Because Buhari was in the position that Atiku is now.
Yeah, you're right.
And we used to say he is unelectable.
Yes.
We used to say he is unelectable. No matter what he does, he could not. So I have stopped giving that kind of prediction that
honestly,
so person can never be elected after Buhari's election. So, and in as much as we see Atiku so disadvantaged, I cannot say that he is unelectable. The dynamics of the Nigerian politics is such that if they were to properly manage that coalition, it will present a credible threat. Because of the kind of problem you have in the north with Tinubu, if the north were to solidly be behind Atiku and Obi captures the southeast and southwest, it will be a very, very strong challenge to Tinubu that one can even predict that they will win.
Yeah, honestly,
it's still in the realm of prediction.
I think I'm just with Atiku. That is Atiku's case. I've just close my nose to actually support him. But yes, because that is the realistic honestly, that is the realistic thing that can actually give us success potential. That's the realistic potential that can give us, that can actually us Tinubu, even though I doubt that Tinubu, except with this now this president, U.S. President Donald Trump's government is giving me a kind of succor with regard to Nigerian politics here, especially come 2027. Because I see come 2027, I am having a kind of hope that there will be that U.S. interest there, and someone like Donald Trump will want the right thing to be done with the election, sort of. So I'm beginning to see a kind of a kind of a very small light at the end of the tunnel. Even though I still, no matter what, I still prefer the military. I don't believe in this sham called democracy in Nigeria. It has not changed my opinion. I'm only what we are doing right now. I'm only just going with the only option what we have on ground, working with just thinking along what we have on ground. That is just the reality. So anyway, that would be a kind of yes, a relatively formidable force, because if they do that, there will be resistance, and Tinubu tries to use the government. That's where the U.S. influence will come to play. Tinubu tries to use the power, the paraphernalia of government to rig the system. There will be resistance from the north. There will be resistance from now the east. I don't expect any east. What matters to them? They don't. That's one thing I don't like about the East and the Igbos. Their own is just about their business, and they have forgotten. And sometimes I consider them as selfish. Honestly, I'm an Igbo man, but sometimes I consider our attitude towards the Nigerian state as selfish. We just believe in an Igbo man, average Igbo man just believes in this. As long as his business is doing well, he doesn't care. So I do not expect any resistance from the Igbo land, from the east, because they will be so particular about their business. That's just it. A sort of so, but resistance from the north and resistance from the global, the west, which is being controlled right now by Donald Trump, U.S. A sort of so. Anyway, I think we can, yeah, I can see now the thing is the political environment is beginning to take shape, just like what your analysis now does. It's at least it makes sense to me, and there is, but the only thing is we politicians, article with agreement is not, don't trust politicians, Nigerian politicians with agreement. Atiku running for one term. If he becomes president, he will definitely, you and I know that one term he will renege in that. And that is just the reality. But at the same time, 2027, this issue of northern southern dichotomy will come to play. They will just say, okay, Tinubu is a southerner. We still have extra one more term for southerner. So those dynamics will play out as well. We'll just see how it goes. There's still in politics, 2 years is like 2 years is like it's like 100 is like 2 years is like 100 years in politics, and sometimes even 100 years is like 2 years in politics. It just so politics can be somehow.